Hello, welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. The date is May 17, 2020, and you are looking out of my bedroom window. The first time. Uh, I don't know if it looked different from all the other windows that you've looked out of so far on this video journey, but anyway, this is the first time we use this particular window. For this expressive purpose, I even washed the window today. Don't think I did a really good job at it, but anyway, hopefully you guys can actually see through it now. So this is Soul Search Sunday, and we are on week number 11 of the coronavirus, staying at home, social distancing, all that good stuff. Just yesterday, I was listening to a Chinese talk show, and the host of the talk show reflected on how back in the 40s and 50s, if you lived in China, all you needed was to have a room, a bed, a table, a cabinet to put things in, and a TV. If you had all these things, you were considered marriage worthy. You were considered to be ready to get yourself a wife. Then when I heard that, I was thinking, wow, how times has changed, how our demand has changed, and how our expectation has changed. Listening to what people considered to be marriage worthy back then make me feel that maybe in today's world we are all asking for way too much. I remember back in 2007 when my good friend Kevin was about to get married. Uh, he had just to get his uh, wife's parents' permission. He had to make a gift to them, and the gift was roughly $20,000 Chinese money. So that would amount to something like $3,000 American at the time. $3,000 American. You got to give that money to the parents of whoever you want to marry before you can get their blessing. I believe that custom is not in the US or in Canada, but it is definitely the custom in Taiwan and China. Before you can get the blessing of the parent, you got to give them a monetary gift. And if they think it's not enough, then they may stop the wedding. They may uh, say that they don't agree. Now, a lot of people will say that this sounds like prostitution. This sounds like human trafficking. This sounds like the parents are selling their daughter. But that's not how my people look at it. The way Chinese people look at something like this is a test. If you can't even make a proper monetary gift to the parents to show how much you actually love uh, this woman, in another word, if you don't even have the heart or the will to save up the money to make this work, then you probably won't make a very good husband. You probably won't be a very good family person. You won't be a very good father. So uh, they wouldn't want their daughter to be with someone like that. Is it fair? Probably not. I would say definitely not. I mean, we all know how hard it is to save up a couple of $1,000 nowadays just to give it away. So If I was the marrying type, and if I have to go by that custom, then I probably have to settle for a life of uh, being single because I would never be able to save up that kind of money just to give away, and to hoping to get the uh, agree or agreement or blessing of the bride's parents. But thinking about that, that's what a Chinese parent would have to see to consider the son-in-law marriage ready or marriage worthy nowadays, comparing to back then, where if you could show them that, hey, I got a room of my own, I got a closet, I got a table, I got a bed, and hey, look, I even have a TV, and you are good, you're good, you're ready. Such a big difference. Merely 50, 60 year made in the amount of material financial goods people expect from others. And in some ways, here in the Western world, it's even worse. People want the newest computer, people want the newest PlayStation, people want their Starbucks coffee in the morning, people want an espresso machine. A $30 coffee machine is not good enough. People want a $1,000 espresso machine, and people want this, people want that. If you are going to high school and everyone else is driving and you don't have a car, you feel that you're not worthy. You're probably not going to get any girlfriend. If you go to college and you don't have the money for the newest makeup or dress or fashion or a perfume or a gadget, you probably won't be very attractive to prospective mate. And the list go on and on. Um, and the sad part is a lot of us have been conditioned to think, well, that's just the way time is. That's what we need. That's what we have to have because other people have it too. Going back to 2007, I was the best man. I was invited to be the best man on my friend's wedding. So I traveled to China and had quite an adventure over there. And perhaps the biggest inspiration, the biggest wake up call I took away from that trip was my entire outlook on material goods and financial expectations. While I was there, I met two lovely young ladies, and I'm not going to go into all the details and talk about how we met and stuff like that. But the point is, I met two lovely young ladies in their I want to say in their 20s, but I actually think that they were like 18 or 19 years old at the time, so they weren't even in their 20s, but they were already out living on their own. They were roommates. They lived together and they were working and basically supporting themselves without parents sending them money, without depending on boyfriend or husband or whatever. They were out working and living together as roommates. I remember the living condition that these two ladies were in was really, really bad by our standard. They lived in an apartment building. They lived on the sixth floor. The stairway was narrow and steep, very little lighting. There was no elevator in the building. The building was hot, grimy, and dingy. In their room, they didn't have a proper bathroom. In what amounted to their bathroom was just a small cubicle with a toilet in the center, not even the kind of toilet you can sit on, but a toilet, one of those squat toilets, basically a hole in the ground. You can't even flush it. I remember they said after you use the toilet, you got to go to the kitchen sink and get some water and pour it down, and it will wash everything down into the drain. And yeah, it was very primitive. You know, this place they were living in, and this wasn't in a remote country or remote place in China. This was in Canton province. So one of the more financially well-to-do, very popular, very modern cities, but they were living in this apartment building that didn't have elevator, didn't have flushable toilet, didn't have a bathtub or even a sink in the washroom. For them to take care of their hygienic needs, they either had to do a sponge bath using the sink that was in the kitchen, or they had to save up money to go use one of the local bathhouses. In their kitchen, they didn't have a refrigerator, so anything that had to be refrigerated, uh, they basically couldn't keep. They had to uh, buy only as much as they could eat, carry the grocery up to the sixth floor, climbing those very steep, very narrow steps, and eat what they can eat. And sometimes things go bad before they can finish them, and then they have to go grocery shopping again, and then lug the grocery all the way up to the sixth floor over again. It's almost a daily occurrence with them. No refrigerator, no stove. The only way they could do their cooking was a hot plate on their dinner table. So in their apartment, there was a dinner table, a sink, a cubicle with a toilet in it, no TV, no CD player, nothing, and two beds, two single beds, with a bedside table uh, beside each one of them, and two chairs. And I remember what struck me very deeply was how happy those two ladies were. Every day that I met them and I hung out with them, and every day that I was able to uh, observe their living condition and experience, they were always laughing, smiling, singing, dancing around. They were always happy. Now, if most of us here in Canada, in the US, most of us have to live in that kind of condition, could we do it? Yes, of course we can do it. But would we be that happy? I don't think so. I think a lot of us are so used to what we have. Like if our toilet just go out of uh, uh, service for a few days, or if our uh, dishwasher go out of uh, commission for a few days, it's like the end of the world. But these two ladies, they were so happy, and that's when it hit me that happiness does not have to uh, hang on material good or financial good. Happiness is a state of mind that no matter where you are, no matter what you have or don't have, if you don't think it's that bad, then you can be happy. And for those two ladies, what they had was good enough, even though most of us would look at what they had and be horrified at what they have to live in. Thinking more about the modern world and expectation, I want to switch gear and look at it from the other direction. Yes, the world we live in today does tend to be more materialistic and financially driven, but it's not all bad either, because we in today's generation enjoy way more mental stimulation. A lot of us, if you take a time machine and send us back to the 15th century, a lot of us can become wise men, wise women, prophets, no problem, because we have the luxury to be self-aware. If you look at human evolution, it's actually quite interesting that as time goes by, people seem to be less physically capable, but becoming much more mentally aware. What I mean by that is we often look back at our predecessors, our fathers and grandfathers, and we say, wow, my dad could build a house all on his own and fix the wiring and catch fish for dinner and go hunting and prepare the animal carcass afterward. My dad could do it. My grandfather, even better, my grandfather could work his way across the country, across the ocean to go to a different country and build a house on his own, build a farm on his own, settle a piece of land himself. Like you look at the kind of thing that our grandparents, our parents were able to do comparing to nowadays a lot of us can't even fix our own toilet. Uh, yeah, you just kind of feel a little bit ashamed because we are nowhere as physically capable as they were. Um, remember those stories that our dad liked to tell us that when they were little, when they were our age, they had to walk through storm, thunder, lightning, burning sun, driven snow to get to school, and it was uphill both ways. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So it's almost hard to dispute that the previous generations were more capable in on a physical level, but honestly, and I don't want to be mean, but I'm probably going to come across as being rude and blunt and mean. But if you look at the mental state of our previous generations, a lot of them were, are, will be, can be dumb as rocks. Yeah, I mean, my father, who could single-handedly go out there to a foreign place, to a foreign country, with only $1,000 on his person and no ID, nothing. My father could go to a foreign country and single-handedly turn himself into a millionaire, but he has no concept of what happiness is. He doesn't know. He never ever being able to ask himself, am I happy? Uh, am I depressed? He doesn't know. He doesn't know why he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't know why people don't like him. Those kind of questions seem to be beyond his comprehension. His comprehension. My mom, who's been a very successful businesswoman, look after my dad's uh, businesses and ventures, and very capable with a calculator and doing numbers. She has no concept of how to maintain friends. She had no idea how to be natural, how to be happy, how to be content. So you look at a lot of the previous generation, you think, wow, they're so capable, and yet it's like they never sit down and actually think about what is really important, what is healthy for them, what is healthy for their children. Now, of course, if you go back far enough, the cavemen, well, I don't think the cavemen bothered much about any kind of question either. I think the caveman was about surviving and uh, mating and sleeping and eating, and that was about it. So sometimes when I think about this, I think, wow, we worship these wise men, these wise women, these prophets in human history. But as I pointed out earlier, it takes a lot of us. send us back in the time machine, we could be them too. I mean, let's just sit down and think about what exactly did these people say that was really all that impressive. Confucius. A lot of people go gaga over Confucius, and I know he was a great educator and he was a great philosopher, yada yada yada. But let's sit down. What did Confucius actually say? Confucius said, "Be a nice person. Be nice to your parents and be nice to your friend." That's all he said. And then everyone around him, whoa, be a nice person. Be nice to your parents. Wow, that's so cool. That's so wise. Wow, you must be a prophet. Hmm. Now, if I was to go on Facebook and start saying things like be a good person, be nice to your parents, be nice to your friends, most likely I'm going to run into people coming back with, well, if a person is nice or not, that is not the same for everybody. What do you mean by being nice? And why should I be nice to my parents when my parents abused me when I was a child? And to be nice to my friends always take advantage of me. So how can I be nice to them if I be nice to them? No, I have to deal with that kind of questions. I mean, most likely no one's going to take me all that seriously. No one's going to think of me as being all that wise if I say something like that today. But Confucius could get away with it. He could say something so simple, and everyone thought it was awesome. It was very special. Buddha. Let's look at Buddha. What did Buddha say that was so cool? Buddha said, "The world is a place of suffering. The world is a place of suffering." And everyone went, "Whoa! The world is a place of suffering? Never thought of that before. Wow, you must be godly." Now, if I was to go on Facebook today and say the world is a place of suffering, most of the people are going to come back and say, "Well, you're so negative. Why can't you be more positive? You must have a positive attitude." I'm, I would get all kind of backlashes from comments like that. No one's going to think of me as wise or special. So I think in some ways today's world is harder, but in many ways today's world is also a lot smarter, wiser, and better. At the very least, today's world seems to be a lot more interesting and exciting to live in. Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. For now, be safe, be strong, and have a good night. And remember, the world is a place of suffering.